Title: Temporal Paradox, The Endless Plot. Hey, temporal people! You asked for it, and here's another mind-blowing episode of Temporal Mayhem, the Reaper Saga. Get ready for Temporal Paradox, The Endless Plot. After overcoming the threat of the temporal void, our heroes thought they'd finally get a breather. But the multiverse is like a puzzle that only gets more complicated. A temporal conspiracy begins to unfold, bringing the temporal paradox to light. The Observer warns the Temporal League about distortions arising from seemingly meaningless events. The fabric of time is fragmenting, and an enigmatic figure known as the Weaver is plotting something at the core of the multiverse. Batman, in his costume which is practically a quantum computer, leads the investigation to discover the origin of the paradoxes. But the Weaver is cunning, and his temporal manipulations turn every clue into a journey through alternative realities. Meanwhile, Flash realizes that the past, present and future are beginning to intertwine in confusing ways. Old enemies are forgetting their rivalries, and former allies are turning against each other. Paradox is casting shadows over every temporal corner. Superman, whose connection to the truth transcends reality itself, senses that something fundamental is wrong. He explores the temporal nexus, a point where all timelines converge, in the hope of finding answers. The search for truth leads the Temporal League to confront temporal illusions, where nothing is as it seems. Heroes are tempted by distorted versions of their own lives, while villains find redemption in alternative realities. Finally, Batman discovers that the Weaver is using the thread of paradox, a mystical relic that allows him to manipulate past events to create desired futures. The Weaver, an entity who weaves the very laws of time, seeks to rewrite the history of the multiverse according to his own whims. In an epic battle between the Temporal League and the Weaver, the thread of paradox is unleashed, creating even more intense temporal distortions. Batman, Flash and Superman fight to maintain temporal coherence while facing alternative versions of themselves, each representing a different choice. At the height of the battle, Batman, using his cunning, manages to deactivate the paradox thread, restoring order to the multiverse. The Weaver is defeated, but leaves behind a cryptic warning: the knots of time are fragile, and the true enemy lies beyond the veil of knowledge. With the temporal conspiracy neutralized, the Temporal League returns to their new HQ, knowing that even greater challenges lie ahead. The Watcher appears and reveals that an ancient threat known as the temporal spectrum is closing in on the multiverse. Temporal Paradox, the infinite plot, ends with our heroes preparing to face the temporal specter. What will this mysterious enemy be, and how will the Temporal League be able to face it? Stay tuned, because the saga continues with more exciting twists and turns ahead.